Yes.
Yeah.
Are we expecting anyone online tonight?
Sorry. I gotta get my things. So do you need help with your meeting? Yes, we are expecting somebody online. Katie is planning on being online. And then, Chrissy and Olive were, excused. So we should have a quorum.
Andre,
For, I'm not on,
what's that?
no message from,
Okay.
but we have one. Or how
Is
many?
Katie online right now?
No,
Okay.
so we can't start yet. Okay.
So we have to wait until one more person joins the meeting to have quorum.
That's okay.
Okay, Katie Nelson's in the waiting room. I'm gonna bed her in. You have Katie.
Okay. Katie, can you hear us?
I can.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we do have 5 here. That does constitute a quorum, so go ahead and call to order the March 2nd Parks Recreation Forestry Commission meeting. Kelly, do you have roll?
Yes, so we have 2 excused members, Chrissy Mayer and then Erica Pollock. Katie Nelson is online. We do have a quorum for tonight's meeting.
All right, great. First order of business will be approval.
And then Andre is also not, or absent and not excused for
Okay.
tonight.
All right. First order of business then will be approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have any changes they'd like to make to those? All right, hearing none, I'll accept those as submitted. On to new business. Item number 1, recognition of 10 years of service to the city. So for John Hunter, Greg Lamping, Tony Crom.
All right, I'm going to kick us off with a really special thing for tonight. 10 years of service for 3 of our staff members. And I'm just gonna run through a little speech here and present 3 awards for our 3 staff members. All right, so tonight is truly a pleasure to recognize 3 individuals who are celebrating 10 years of service with the City of Middleton Parks and Recreation Department. A decade of service is a significant milestone. 10 years of showing up, problem solving, adapting, growing, and investing in community. That's something worth pausing to honor. Greg, John, and Tony, we are incredibly grateful for the time, energy, and heart you have each given to this department and to the City of Middleton over the past 10 years. What stands out most is not just the length of service, but the dedication and resilience you've shown through tremendous change. Over the last decade, this department has evolved countless ways: new programs, new facilities, shifting roles, department transitions, and even navigating a global pandemic. Through it all, you've showed up, you've stayed committed, and you've kept doing the work that matters to people who rely on us every single day. John Hunter, if you want to stand so everybody knows who you are. John, you have grown alongside the Middleton Youth Center in so many ways. From early on, you were helping run sport programs, and now you're leading Middleton Youth Center. You've been a steady, positive presence for countless kids and families. The mentoring program you launched has created meaningful connections that will last far beyond any single school year. During COVID, when everything felt uncertain, you found creative ways to keep youth engaged and supported, and tremendous growth in students, volunteers speaks volumes about the culture of belonging and leadership you've helped build. All right, Greg Lamping. And I guess I should let everybody know the titles here, but Greg Lamping is our rec supervisor. John is our Middleton Youth Center supervisor. So Greg, your vision and leadership have helped shape what recreation looks like in Middleton today. You've built youth sports youth sports leagues and programs from the ground up and expanded opportunities for adults, families, and special interests. Because of you, more people in this community have ways to get active, stay connected, and feel like they belong. During periods of staff transitions and uncertainty, your steady leadership helped keep programs strong and the team grounded. That kind of consistency matters than more people can realize. So thank you, Greg. And Tony. Tony is our city forester and conservancy lands lead. Your impact has been seen quite literally all across the community. The health of our urban forests and stewardship of our conservancy lands and the long-term sustainability of our natural spaces reflect your expertise and care. The trails residents walk on, the trees that shade our parks and streets and habitats preserved for future generations are lasting contributions. Your quiet, consistent stewardship ensures Middleton remains not just livable, but beautiful and resilient. Somewhere in all those years, each of you also became a dad, which might be your most important leadership role yet. That perspective shows up in the empathy, patience, and commitment you bring to your work every day. All three of you represent what public service is truly about: commitment, adaptability, and genuine care for the community. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department and residents of Middleton, I want to thank you for your 10 years of service and present you with an award of recognition for your excellence and dedication to the city of Middleton. Please join me in congratulating John, Greg, and Tony for their 10 years of service. I just want to get a quick picture with all three. Okay, awesome. I feel like if you wanted to go against the green wall, or I don't know, not so there's what or where.
I could get out of the picture and you could do it like right
Okay,
here.
yeah, that might be good. Yeah, that's good. Well, we want to go to the right. So wait, I'm gonna make sure I go through this over here. Thank you. Thank you. I should shake your hands officially. Thank you. Thank you very much, you guys.
Kylie, do you want to be in on the picture?
We'll do one with those three.
Actually, I'm gonna do multiple. Just keep
Okay.
smiling. One, keep going. One more, and then I'm gonna do this way. Oh, yep. One more. Okay, now Kylie.
Okay. I'm like your little student.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, one more. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to the school.
Thank you. All right, because we do have some people who would like to speak on agenda item number 3, would anybody object to me moving agenda item that one up so they can, you can definitely stay if you'd like to stay for the rest of our meeting, but also, you know, if you would like to head out after your agenda item is done, we'll move yours up a little bit. So we're going to flip flop. We'll move agenda item number 3 up to next, and then we'll hit agenda item number 2 later on. So this is a tree removal request for tree number 16675, which is a honey locust. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, and we do have the homeowners who made the request at 1209 Devonshire Court are here. They are registering their support with of removing the tree without speaking. And it looks like the next door neighbor, Janet Besadny, it is here, would like to speak in support of it. So I'll give you 3 minutes if you'd like. Head over to the podium, make sure the microphone is on.
Thanks for being here and hearing us. Russ and Joanna and I have dealt with this tree for a long time. And I did send out a email, but I'm going to pretty much just read it. So this morning, I just heard about the council meeting for both 1205 and 1209 Devonshire Court. That tree pretty much sits on the property line there. It's been difficult to deal with all the beans that it drops. Honey locust is a female version, and that is considered a nuisance tree because the amount of those beans that drop in the fall and all winter long. We're still raking up beans right now. We expect that the city mistakenly ordered female trees because they are considered a nuisance. This happened, I think, when the development went done. Since we stopped mowing in November, I have bagged 35, 40 bags, large leaf bags of them after I've mowed so that they're shredded and compact in those bags. And that was in the period of a 3-week period. It just takes hours and hours to do that. And they've done an equivalent amount, if not more, because what also happens for them is that all the beans that fall on the circle get snow plowed into his yard. So they have to rake up all of those additionally. While the snow plow will, or the vacuum thing will rake up what's on the edge. It doesn't do anything in the middle. The trees on the other side of the circle, most of their beans fall in the road and get blown our direction, whereas ours get blown into our yard. They're still falling. This particular tree also interferes with the 200-year-old oak trees that are on our property. And we're constantly having to manage that so that those valuable trees aren't impacted by the increasing of that. What doesn't get raked up gets plowed in and into the sewer. So that really is a danger to that. We really would like the tree to come down and are hoping that you guys would be able to do that. We would even be willing to buy and plant a new tree to replace that. So we're just hoping that you would consider doing that for us.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. All right,
questions?
some questions for Kevin.
Come on.
Within the circle, that circle, how many other honey locusts are there that are city owned?
On that same street,
Do you have an idea?
I can find out.
Okay.
That wasn't a question I was anticipating.
I think we have an inventory that
Yeah.
we can pull that information up. If
And
you want.
the reason why I ask is because if we say okay to one tree, does that mean 9 more trees are gonna come down? I'm just using that number,
They're not all female,
so,
so there's
okay.
fewer, I think there might be 3 females. And the other ones on the other side, I don't think bother them as much because the wind is blowing most all of them into the circle. And ours are being blown up.
Point of order, this is Katie. If you can please have people speak into the microphone so everyone can hear and it's recorded.
Yep, and then I don't know if you want, or if you want them to respond to questions or anything right now, but you can.
We'll kind of wait and see how things go, how the discussion goes, so.
The answer needs to be recorded.
Mm.
So
No,
if
yeah.
you come and speak.
So the question was about how many there are. I think there's 5 or 8, but I think there's only 3 females. And the other ones on the other side of the circle blow into the road, whereas ours blow into the yard. So theirs end up getting into our yard, either from the wind or mostly it's the snowplow.
So there's 8 of them on Devonshire Court.
Okay.
That is the only species that's on Devonshire Court.
Okay,
And to say how many honey locusts that have pods throughout the city, I wouldn't be able to say that. That's not an attribute that we keep in our inventory.
okay. So so you just know that there are 8 on Devonshire Court, but you're not quite sure which,
No, I wouldn't be able to say whether they're male or
Okay.
female. They're all of about the same size range,
okay,
indicating probably that they were all planted about the same time.
okay. Other questions?
Yeah, the ones where the pods drop into the street, is there a significant number of those that go into the storm sewer?
Yes. Because they're not cleaning that up. I don't think the city cleans that up until it gets to be fall, late in the fall. But then they're continuing, even though the city stops sweeping, they're still falling all December, January, February. So there's a lot that get into the sewer.
Yes. I would like to say the city of Middleton is involved with the Clean Lakes Alliance, Renew the Butte. renew the blue so that we could clean up phosphorus that's going into the lake. And this is one of the things that needs to be done, is to keep leaves, any sort of plant debris from going into the storm sewers.
And I know you're concerned about the setting a precedent, but we were hoping that our proposal, that if you cut it down, we pay to replace and plant something, that would then make the precedent be that other people would also have to do that. So I'm not sure how many people would buy into that aspect of this.
Because it is part of the city policy, if we grant permission to cut down a tree from on a request of a property owner, that they would pay for the cost of removal, correct?
Yeah, I attached the tree removal policy that I think dates back to about 2021.
Mhm.
And that's,
Evan, can I speak just a second?
attached
I know
on-
there's a tree that was removed that council approved when I was still on council on street right behind us, about 2 blocks down. It has
it's gonna be the one
not
that
been
says,
replaced.
request policy. It's right there. Yeah.
That may have been before the policy was implemented, though.
That would have been,
I think we just want to have accurate information provided.
So,
Yeah.
so I have a policy from 2021, and that doesn't include,
It's
what the request entails. So, upon receiving the request, the city forester will contact the resident to discuss the issue. I spoke with Alder Madden and I spoke with the residents on the phone to discuss the issue, on behalf of the city forester. This policy requests a tree risk assessment to be done of the tree. I determined that that wasn't necessary and that this was a case where we're looking more at aesthetics and the issue with the debris and having to clean that stuff off the front yard. And we had a pretty recent inspection of the tree. November of 2024, I believe that inspection report is in the memo, which is
We're on a memo.
staff memo. Go scroll to the top right here. So, that tree was visited on May 20th, 2024 by Kelly Tuttle of Blue Stem Forestry Consultants, measured 23 inches in diameter, so 4.5 feet off the ground. The diameter is 23 inches. It was given a conditional rating of 80 out of 100, or a good condition. No defects were listed. Its recommended maintenance was a routine prune. So this is a tree that's providing benefits to the city in the way of its large crown. It's not in shape where we would be removing it otherwise. So staff opinion on this, or staff recommendation, is that this, while I empathize with the condition of having to clean up pods, it doesn't meet the criteria for removal. I think that somebody mentioned precedent, and there are a lot of trees in the city that create some debris of some sort, be they pods from honey locust or Kentucky coffee tree, be they acorns from oak trees. Even we get calls about leaf stems or even leaves. Every tree drops something, and there's pictures attached of your front yard. There's a lot of stuff on the ground. I understand that, but I don't think that we should be removing the tree.
So I know it's not a health of the tree issue, but I guess it's a health of us who are aging out and being able to do this.
Alder Nelson has her hand raised.
Thank you. I have a question for Kevin. Well, I guess a two-part. Is a female locust tree a nuisance tree?
Not by our ordinance. So
Okay.
in our ordinance, and I've got a copy of an email discussion with Alder Madden here, and I kind of define what So a tree can be declared a nuisance by the city forester if it is infected with an insect or disease that poses a serious threat. So examples of that would be Dutch elm disease, oak wilt, emerald ash borer, Asian longhorn beetle, and that the city forester can call for removal of the tree if it endangers the general public. Our Chapter 20 municipal code calls out two restricted species, box elder and cottonwood, but there's no mention of honey locust or specifically female honey locust.
Thank you. My other question is, given that you said this tree is a 23-inch diameter tree, playing devil's advocate here, if somebody wanted to pay for another tree, could we require the same diameter and the same size?
Well, you can't plant a 23-inch diameter tree, but there would certainly be ways of assessing the value of the tree, and then there's a lot of ways of creating that value through the planting of multiple other trees. It's a complicated and expensive process of creating that valuation. But it's something that we could arrive at a figure.
I'm just wondering if there's a way that, if someone is just absolutely adamant, they would have to reach this high bar to have us agree to take a big tree down.
I also want to comment that I think if we're looking at a policy for finding value for a tree to be replaced, that understanding the amount of resources that would take away from city staff and redirecting city staff time for one tree that, well, this is not in our management plan to set as a tree removal for the year, that expends staff resources where it could be directed for our tree removals that are in high risk and high need for our time and attention. So I think that precedence, will keep leaning on it and explaining that through tonight's communication of why we arrive at the decision, our staff arrive at the decision to not recommend removal of a tree that is deemed a nuisance by resident.
Thank you.
I guess I would add my use of the word nuisance is based on my Googling abilities and what the landscape people say about planting such a tree. That I don't think there was any intention to really plant females because they've been considered a nuisance, and so.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess I'm wondering, I did a little reading on the honey locust, and I don't know, sometimes if they're pruned with the flowering parts and things, is that sustainable? Is that possible if they were interested in doing something like that? I don't know what that all looks like.
Is your question are you able to prune in a way that would prevent the honey locust pods from forming or falling?
The flowering segments of the tree, are they on every branch? Are there certain branches that are more heavy? If you could trim some of the more heavy, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out.
I would put that to the
I think they're on every.
the tree's loaded with
In the
pods,
spring,
and they're
if
everywhere.
In the
Yeah.
spring, when the little tiny seeds come out, if they fall on the ground and lay on the wet sidewalk, they grow. They just will grow and grow. You can just watch them grow.
Yeah. So
And so it's a nonsense nuisance
Susan.
from the beginning. You know?
yeah, I don't know that pruning would be a way to
Well, it could
remove
be
those,
pruned
yeah.
well.
Kylie, it looked like Andre was on Zoom and he
Oh.
just sent a chat. Andre, if you're able to, would you be able to unmute?
Absolutely. Sorry, y'all. I have a little bit of a head cold. I guess my question is whether the honey locust has I believe it's called biennial bearing cycle, kind of like the black walnut, where it fruits a ton and then it rests, or if it's always kind of similar to similar amounts annually.
So I think the question is the seasonality of it, if it's heavier in one season versus lighter in others. That's certainly a case of nut-bearing trees. I think for honey locust, it's fairly even throughout, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think if we see a difference, it's all on how fast they might fall because of the weather change or something, not that there were less that year.
Susan?
What time of the year are the pods falling?
So they fall in spring when they're really little. If there's, anytime there's wind, they fall. And then in the fall, they'll start end of October and go all the way through November, December, very heavily. And then into the beginning of January, and they're still falling. So like in
It's
this
not
last
a-
January, when we had a snow melt, I'm like, oh, I can see them again. And I go out and rake them all up so that I can get them up. Every time there's a snow melt, we're out there, raking up leaves that have fallen.
So it's
Okay.
not a single season like leaves.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are November, last 2 weeks of October, November, and the first 2 weeks in December.
Yeah. And so.
But that's when you
you've
get
got
55, 60 bags this size, you know.
And you've got pods coming down at times when we don't do leaf collection.
Yeah. There's no more leaf connection then.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a big concern in terms of it going into the stormwater for all the trees in that area, all the female trees.
I think we can touch on leaf litter and phosphorus as that's for our entire urban forest and seems like a larger issue to discuss if at a future committee meeting.
Lily, you had your.
Yeah, just to like, I guess, talk through maybe like every possible solution. Would it maybe be possible that the city could authorize the removal, but say you need to find a private contractor to remove it, or is that too many like hoops and stuff?
Well, we still lose the benefits that tree is providing. So it's got a large canopy, and I think that's what's at stake here. So whether it's removed by the city or paid for by the adjacent property owner, I think if your decision was to take the tree down, we could talk about that. But I think really what we need to look at is the benefits that tree's providing, and then in the grand scheme of things, all the trees that have a similar issue, if we're thinking about this for one tree, we kind of have to have in mind that, okay, every tree that drops debris, if we grant an exception for this one, are we in turn doing that for the other trees around the city? So I think that if this was an issue where the tree was posing risk that we weren't comfortable with, we could look at removal in that aspect, but I don't think that this tree meets our criteria for removal. And I think authorizing removal of it would mean we're opening up a door for other trees that have a similar issue.
Kevin, how many other female locusts do we have in the city?
It's not a figure that we keep on our inventory.
Because I've got to admit, I haven't seen all my years driving around very many. I'll also say the tree that I was talking about earlier, it was probably at the time this was being written. And I realized that you guys were not here at the time, but I think the history is relevant in coming before council. It was more over a route that was considered to be a tripping hazard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bit questionable, but it was approved to be removed. So we have sort of established that precedent.
I think they're two very different issues and we're not
Yeah.
we're bringing this one agenda item forward that needs to be looked at for here and to move forward.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we've asked a lot of questions. We do need to take action on this item. I'm not sure if anyone would like to put forward a motion, either in support or denial of the request.
Andre and Katie, I just want to make sure if you needed to be unmuted at any point too.
I have my hand up.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Alder Nelson.
Thank you. I would like to move that, while we understand the frustration, I would like to move that we deny removal of the tree.
Okay, we do have a motion. Do we have a second? I will second that motion. So, all right, any discussion on the motion? Right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
4 opposed,
Aye.
1. Okay, were there any abstentions? Okay, so Alder Nelson's motion is approved, which is denial of the request. I know it seems like kind of backwards, so. All right, well, thank you very much for coming tonight. All right, let's go back to our next agenda item, which will be this 2026 sponsorship program.
All right, things are just taking a little bit to load, so I apologize. I want to get this up and ready. Hey, Gavin, can you make sure the microphone is turned on there?
It is.
Okay, it is. What? All right. All right, so we are super excited to be presenting the 2026 sponsorship program. This is a brand new program for, this is a brand new program for the Parks and Recreation Department, and we're just gonna run you through a presentation tonight. And in front of you, there's a printed copy of the sponsorship guide so that you can take a look and page through it during this presentation. But Gavin Adler is here tonight, our recreation assistant, and Laura Gessling is also here. They have both put in several hours, a lot of time into this program in preparation for rollout for this year. And primarily just to kind of go over just to go over in a larger picture what this program is and why we're moving forward with it, and goals that we have for the department or for this program for the department. We are really looking to engage with community organizations and our community partners to provide sponsorships for our programming. This whole program is so that we can formalize those partnerships and create a sustainable funding source so that we're able to diversify our revenue and not just have it be based off of program fees or event entrance fees. We really want to make sure that we can attain other avenues of sponsorship that isn't taxpayer dollar. So that creates a sustainable model for our department moving forward, and also for the accessibility and keeping funding or program cost at an accessible level. And when we formalize this program, we're able to have transparent communication and clear expectations, and really build a partnership that we can see over years to come. And then it's also aligned with our mission and the resources that we have for the year. So it's really a great way for us to reach out and have sponsors support our programs, events, and facilities. And we just want to have a strategic program that allows us to gain those sponsorships. That's a harder word to say than I thought. And for short-term goal, 1 to 2 years, we're specifically focusing on recreational programming and special events in the youth center in the upcoming years. And then we really want it to be manageable for the first few years. And then from there, we'd love to expand in years potentially 2 or 3. We'd like to expand to parks, facilities, conservancy, trails, and see larger partnerships and sponsorship opportunities so that we can diversify that revenue and look at more sustainable funding for our department. And so it's really, the goal is to start off small and hopefully really grow this and then have a revenue stream if it's a small dollar amount for this year, but we can see that growth in future years. So that's kind of the purpose, our goal of the program. And then Gavin's gonna cover our outreach strategy, our 12-step program here.
Yep, so as Kylie was stating, this program was put in place to kind of really have a way for these community investors or businesses, local, like Boys and Girls Clubs, have a way for them to funnel their funds, their time, their energy into something that they can build with us rather than it be more transactional and more like a one-side donation, because the thing about donations is they're not very transactional. One party's not really getting anything out of them. So we wanted to find a way to funnel these efforts into something that's going to be sustainable and more relation building than donations may offer. So to outreach strategy, I put this together to kind of give both the department and maybe anyone looking at this a comprehensive look into step-by-step process, from maybe cold calling a business, reaching out with an outreach letter, all the way to post-event, they sponsored us. Hey, what are the next steps? Are we able to sponsor again? So I built out the who, why, where of everything you may want to know on this and tried to make it as simple while not being too simple. I wanted to make it where anyone would be able to look at these steps and kind of be able to maybe walk through it on their own. So that was the main process for that. And then on the next slide, it kind of goes over an overview of, as you guys have on your desks, the finalized sponsorship guide. It's got everything that Kylie had talked about, from special events to youth center partnerships to some sport league jersey sponsors. We tried keeping things small enough where we're able to balance it in these first few years while also providing the community enough areas of interest to really hit on everything that they may want to see in a year 1 and year 2 out of this program. So from things like big special events that we run, like hunting for pumpkins, candy cane hunt, making sure we have a presence at those events, and then maybe some more athletic recreation leaning programs. We had youth sports center. We have pool opportunities for banners. And then on the more enrichment side, youth center partnerships. And in the future, we're hoping to branch out, like Kylie was saying, into maybe adult leagues, into facility sponsors. So it's bare bones as it is now. It's a good starting point for this sponsorship program. Next is more or less our reach, our digital reach from our Instagram and our Facebook. These are in the guide, as I think it's important that potential sponsors see these numbers so they have an understanding of what their money, what their time, what their investments, how many people they'd actually be reaching with this. It's a good number to have, not only for them, but for us, as it's good to kind of compile all these numbers and have an internal view at maybe what our reach looks like, what our demographic looks like, how many monthly interactions we have. These things were put in place to show sponsors that we have a established viewer base slash support group, I guess, where they're able to maybe support these items and feel like they're having eyes on them. It's not an event that is like 15 people. They want to know that there's going to be hundreds of people at these events. So having numbers in the guide to support that claim, I think is big, and that's why I put it on here. We're going to have some physical guides for this, as you guys can see. And digital, we have access to our website with a digital copy of the magazine. It's the same as the physical, just as you can imagine, you can scroll it on your phone with everything you may want to know about what we have going into year 1 and year 2. Next is our goals and summary of what we may want to see from this year 1. And that includes our year 1 revenue forecast, which is right around and a little over $6,000, as any money that this program would generate is leagues and bounds above what was in place before, because there was nothing in place before. So any amount that we gain from this in year 1 and year 2 are strictly a benefit to us and going to benefit the overhead of programs, making things, like Kylie said, making our programs sustainable, making them affordable, making sure that we're not having to jack these prices up to meet with inflation or meet with demand, making sure that our revenue forecast kind of align with a more tempered look at a year 1, year 2 flight, but also keeping in mind that even a small amount of, say we don't hit $6,000, is still a massive benefit to the department, as there was nothing in place before. And it's kind of broken down maximum revenue wise, how we have it built out now. We have tiers built out. If you see in the recreation guide, we have like presenting sponsors, platinum sponsor, gold sponsor, silver sponsors. They all hold different values and benefits, but those all kind of total up to the numbers you see up there, with some of our biggest sellers would be like recreation ad space in our seasonal guides, our special events, and then like youth center sponsors. Those were the 3 things that we wanted to try to tap into this year. And then on this side, I touched on it a little bit. There is a distinction that we have to make between donations and sponsorships. As you guys see, donations are, for all intents and purposes, very one-sided. It's one party giving a large sum or in-kind benefits to another party, with no real way to build value for both parties. Where sponsorships, it's a mutually beneficial partnership, where you're going into a meeting or you're going into an event plan where they're getting eyes on their business, they're getting public recognition, they're getting the good press that comes with sponsoring an event, that kind of positive connotation, as well as us, we're getting the funds or the in-kind sponsorships of that resource that we're not having to put on the public. Say, for our presenting sponsors, we get the $1,000 or $1,500 presenting sponsor for one of these special events. That would pretty much cover almost half of our one of our special events for the year. So we're able to funnel those that revenue elsewhere and kind of build on the events, make them better, and just make it a better experience for all parties involved. And why it matters, why I'm talking about that, is there is a distinction that needs to be made in like public office and the public sector that we're in. there needs to be a transaction made. There needs to be a sponsorship involved for a lot of these transactions to meet public code and like policy, because there's a lot of restrictions and regulations with that. But as you know, a lot of cities do run sponsorship programs, and some even call them like donations. So we wanted to steer clear of that donation connotation completely to make sure that we have everything in line, both policy-wise, and it's better for both parties to have this avenue of mutual benefiting from these events. So I think the sponsorship route is a much better way to go about it. Next is I'm kind of going to go into monetary versus in-kind. Monetary, as you can imagine, is going to come from a lot of these larger corporations that you might find within the city of Middleton. For example, Costco, Culver's, Quick Trip. These businesses have funds built out into their marketing or philanthropy budget already. They have this money that they need to give out. And we need to find a way to tap into that. So having the sponsorship program built out, it gives them an opportunity to use the budget that they already had written up. They needed to spend that money somehow. So providing them a way of funneling that into something that may be more beneficial than just writing a $500 check to some random nonprofit, but actually having them benefit from it past the point of like, hey, we can write this off, we can make a post about our donation. We wanted to make sure that there is a great benefit to both sides. So a lot of these bigger companies, banks, like I said, franchises, that avenue is much easier to go monetary, whereas this next avenue, in-kind avenue, is, as you can imagine, smaller businesses who may not have a massive budget to be handing out writing checks to people, but may have inventory on hand. An example I give, if Schwegler's or Sports Bowl wants to donate lane time to the youth center, because youth center loves having field trips where they bring their kids to a bowling alley, instead of them having to write a check, them being like, hey, we can sponsor an hour of lane time. It's a lot easier and a lot more manageable for these businesses to take that route rather than writing a check, because a lot of these smaller businesses don't have that capital available to them. So we wanted to make sure that in-kind sponsorships were not left at the wayside for this program, making sure that we look at every possible way that a business may want to sponsor, and really capitalize on areas that they can provide and would benefit us. So really tapping into both monetary and in-kind is going to be important, and neither should be neglected. It's a lot to bring on, you guys. So any questions, comments, or concerns, I'd love to hear it, because it's been a long time in the making. I'm excited to hear feedback and questions for it.
So I commend you on the work that this must have taken. This is a very excellent presentation and product that you've put in front of us tonight. So well done.
Gavin's been working on this for, I would say, almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
Susan.
Yeah, I have one question. I think I like the idea. I just have a concern, and this might be something that Matt Fleming may have comments on, is I don't want to see businesses making these donations and having little things that have to go with it of what they want the city to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see an opportunity for businesses to influence.
Yeah.
and you guys do your job. And I think that's essential that it be in here.
Yeah, and like, as you can see, a lot of that influence, we tried curbing with our sponsorship tiers, everything. It's not like a negotiable thing that they're able to pick and choose what they want. We have a drawn out list of everything that is included in it without, I think it's good value for its price, but it's not past a point where a business is gonna be able to.
I guess I'd like to see, sort of the contract that Matt would approve.
Yeah.
So that we're really sure about it. Now, I do know the senior center for their newsletter has advertisements all
Mhm.
through it, which helps support that whole thing. So that's a good example,
Yeah,
but it's not, I don't think they're influencing actual programs and so on. And that's what I just don't want to see businesses thinking, oh, if we give $5,000, we can have the city do this for
hmm
kid or something like that.
yeah, and that, yeah, we definitely
We want to stay away from
we
that.
want to stay away from that. And I think handling those scenarios with the angle and view that we're always going to put what's best for the city first, because the department is run through the city, not putting ourselves at risk for any sort of
Yeah, thank you.
bad deals.
And Gavin, I'm so sorry. I just want to keep Chuck in here too. And
Yeah, go on.
I do not mean to cut you off. You've done a phenomenal job. I just want to make sure I can answer questions too from the PRFC members. And Susan, did you have time to review the packet tonight with the policies and the policies that are went with this guide? Because it does. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because it does outline the structure of which we would have a partnership, and all of these are partnerships and sponsorships, and we don't deem these as donations. We like to use the word partnership in
Yeah,
some,
well, I think
in
the
some
language
cases.
needs to be real clear that there is nothing that they can, and I don't know how to write it. This is
Yeah.
something the attorney needs to write in sort of a contract of, they can't influence what
Okay.
the city plans to do for recreational things.
Yeah, that's, yep. Good feedback.
Other questions or comments? Sure.
I like the sponsorship word. I think that's really good because I think when you use the word donation, it gets confusing if it's tax write-off or whatever, that kind of thing. So, and the partnership with the sponsorship is great. I mean, wow.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we definitely wanted to hammer that point home where we're making the distinction between the two. It's important both legally and I think just as what we're trying to put forward, making sure that it's viewed as more mutual than maybe a donation is viewed as.
Other comments? Katie or Andre online, do you have any comments or questions?
No, my only comment is it looks fantastic. Thanks for the good work, Gavin.
Thank you.
I think this is a much welcome program that we're looking to implement here in the city. I just harken back to my days playing Little League and having like the local state bank on the back of my jersey, right? So, I mean, it just kind of reminds me of that, or what you see quite often,
Wait.
I'm old enough to have seen the Bad News Bears, movies. What's that? Port Washington
Yeah.
State Bank.
Yeah, for Washington State.
That was what
Yeah.
was on my,
I know.
I think that was on my sleeve, so.
Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of Rusty's shirts I have from old sports teams from my grandpa's.
What action do we need?
I just have it
to-
highlighted up here.
Okay.
We're looking for, review, any feedback provided and then, direction on any policy considerations and then, approval essentially.
Okay, so we would take a motion for approval tonight. Okay. And that's approval with the condition of
City attorney.
city attorney review?
Yep, of
Okay.
the policy and
Okay.
waiver.
Yeah, I would move that we approve it with the city attorney review Actually, I'd like to see it back after the city attorney looks.
Is there a reason that we want to have it come back?
Just so that we know what we're sending on to council.
We're not sending this to council.
This doesn't have to go to council? Okay, well then I really would want us to see what the attorney has to say.
Do you still want to see it if the attorney doesn't have anything to change?
Yeah,
If it
So
stays as it
here's the
is?
question I have. Could we approve it tonight? And then once it is done, you could go ahead and implement it, but you could just come back and say, this is the final draft of it.
You can make a motion, or a suggestion is to make a motion with pending or conditional on attorney review and approval of the policy and waiver that's presented tonight. And he can go through and make edits, and that's very similar. Common Council takes up that action, but it's making sure the city attorney makes the document well before we are making it live.
Okay, so do we have a
And
motion?
I just want to say on the timeline, we've been, for the timeline too, we would like to move forward with this. We have special events in the recreation guide coming forward, so the timeline is pertinent. So if that, just to address the timeline.
Okay. So do you have a motion on the floor? Do we have a second on that motion?
I would second it.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion?
Who made the motion?
So, yeah. All right, hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, on to agenda item number 4, Lakeview Park Splash Pad hours of operation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Good night. All right, so Lakeview Splash Pad hours of operation. Lakeview Splash Pad is open currently, not currently, I should say, in season from Memorial to Labor Day, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've been reviewing this over the last few years, taking input from the community and also reviewing splash pads in the surrounding communities. So in Verona, Cottage Grove, the one that was just installed in Wanakee, just hours of operation, and we'd like to move the hours of operation back 1 hour, so we'd still keep the same amount of hours that it is open to the community, but moving it to 10 a.m. Till 8 p.m. As the hours from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Any questions? Let's look so
I would
your
move
motion.
approval on that. I
Okay.
think it's a good idea.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. This is Nelson.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. To agenda item number 5, the 2026 Water Management Agreement with Carico Aquatics Resources for the Bauman Community Pool.
Sure. So we're using Carico again this year for our water management. This has been our company for several years now. The 2026 season cost is $23,500, and there is a $500 per year delivery charge that covers the cost of the deliveries made throughout the summer season. So we are looking for approval.
So the motion.
This is Nelson. I'll move approval.
Okay, we have,
Sorry.
that's
Did I-
okay. We do have a motion for approval. I don't know who will give the official motion on that one. Do we have a second?
Whatever you need, I'll second or whatever.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Agenda item number 6, independent contractor agreement for rec programming.
So we have hired contractors within the recreation department since before I was here to provide services that our department or our instructors aren't able to provide. And we now have a formalized partnership with a contractor contract. And the lawyer has already gone over it and approved it, and we are looking, I think, for your approval now.
Yeah, so programs kind of like Taekwondo, what are any other example?
Like we have like watercolor,
Arts classes.
arts classes. We've got some STEM classes that different people come in and teach for us.
Any other questions? Let's accept a motion for approval.
Nelson will move approval.
Okay. A motion, do we have a second?
I'll second. This is Andre.
And a second. Any discussion on the motion? Right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Right, motion carries. All right, so Kylie, you mentioned maybe deferring items 7 and 8. Does that sound right?
Correct. I would like to defer those to the following meeting.
All right, we'll need a motion to defer those two to the following meeting. So would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll move.
2 motions.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to have 2 motions. So motion to defer item number 7 to the next meeting.
So moved.
All right, seconds.
I'll second
All
it.
right, motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? A motion carries. And then same for agenda item number 8, need a motion for deferral at agenda item number 8.
I'll motion to defer agenda number 8.
All right, we do have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. On to liaison reports. Last week at our plan commission meeting, actually I felt like it was a longer meeting than we've had lately. Couple of the big things that popped up, discussion about some land north of the city between Highway Highway Q and Highway M, which the city annexed many years ago now. This is where T-Wall is building the communities of Bishops Bay. The city had annexed a lot of acres of land. T-Wall came back asking if we would give back about 100 acres to the town of Westport. We said no. They came back and said, well, how about you give 30 acres or 10 acres back? And there was really no other choices. The city said we'd be open to giving 10 acres back to the town of Westport, mainly just so that the corporate boundaries line up with the roads properly. So if you have one street, one house isn't in the city of Middleton, the next door neighbor is in the town of Westport. Makes it easier for EMS and a few other things, but then they had some developments plans that depended on which community they were in was dependent on what they were going to build. The final map that was drawn actually ended up giving back 15 acres to the town of Westport, which we have not approved. I don't think city council approved. We just gave feedback on that plan. So, or the plan commission didn't take any action. I don't think council took action at their meeting, or I don't know if they are taking action at the meeting tomorrow, but another development that's going up is between Parmenter Street and the Beltline north of Century Avenue. So if you're heading up behind, like, I think it's Shep's Motors up there, there's this development going on there. There's a proposal for rezoning it. The city the plan commission would like to see it be a mixed use development. So a combination of residential, commercial. The developer does not want to put a commercial there. So there's a kind of some back and forth, and they had put in a request to rezone it, and there's a public hearing on it. We'll take some action, I think, at the next meeting on that one. We approved the lighting ordinance. We also looked at the subdivision ordinance. I believe we discussed whether or not if land dedication, I think we had mentioned at our last meeting, land dedication. The language in the ordinance, as it was written, kept saying plan commission will determine. But city practice is to have it come here first before it goes to plan commission. I believe that the plan is to put that in code, so that it will come here by ordinance, and then go to plan commission. I think that was the conversation. You could, even though it's practice that comes here first, I made the point of what if a developer doesn't want to come here, and by ordinance, they don't have to. So, you know, we should have this body should have a say in the parkland that's being dedicated. That was about it, at least that I can remember. So, has Conservancy Lands met since we last met?
Yes.
Okay.
Erica's not here, but I will report. The city has been a bird city for a long, long time. And this will be, we discussed all the things that are needed to continue that certification.
All right.
Nick, if in the future, if Erica's not here, I'd like Kevin to
Okay.
take that report.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anything else to report? All right. Done. They're done with our agenda, so we are adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care, y'all.
All right.